Hi everybody, Musical Lewis here, and welcome to another video. And today we're going to be looking at one of the Bon Jovi albums that I was going to review, but I haven't got around to doing it, and I'm going to be doing it tonight. So here we have Bon Jovi, "Have a Nice Day" from 2005. This is the first Bon Jovi album I'm going to be reviewing on this channel. I've got my phone on a on a platform so I can hold the album and show it you this way. So this is my first Bon Jovi review on this channel, and Have a Nice Day. This came out in 2005. I'm going to show you the back. We have "Have a Nice Day," "I Want to Be Loved," "Welcome to Wherever You Are," "Who Says You Can't Go Home," "Last Man Standing," "Bells of Freedom," "Wildflower," "Last Cigarette," "I Am," "Complicated," "Novocaine," "Story of My Life," and the bonus tracks "Dirty Little Secret" and "Unbreakable." And I'll open her up for you. That's what the CD looks like with the booklet. And I'm going to show you the booklet on screen. We got the booklet like this with the lyrics. Just give me a second. There we go. Now, this Bon Jovi album, for me personally, this is the first Bon Jovi album that I've ever heard, and it's also the first album to get me into Bon Jovi, along with "Slippery When Wet." So this was the first album that really got me into Bon Jovi when I was a teenager. So I remember this came out in 2005, so I was 11 when this album came out, but I didn't listen to it properly until around 2007, 2008, 2009 time. So I was about 13, 14 and 15 when I first heard this album. The first time I heard it, it was just a few tracks, and then when I really started getting into Bon Jovi, and then I started listening to this album properly. This is my own copy of the album, but also my parents have also got their own copy of the album in the shelf down the landing here, just outside my bedroom. So I'm doing this in my bedroom when I at the time of recording this. I must say, as a Bon Jovi fan, this album is still one of my personal favorites, and I'm doing this in order of what I love about an album or what I like about Bon Jovi as a whole. So this is and I'm doing it in the order of when I listen to these albums for the most part, and some albums that I that I listen to in the past. As a Bon Jovi fan, this was the album that really got me into Bon Jovi properly, along with "Slippery When Wet" and "Blaze of Glory," which were the albums that my parents had as well. But this was the one that really got me interested in listening to Bon Jovi firsthand. And the album spawns of 3 singles. On the back, we've got the title track. We also got "Welcome to Wherever You Are," which was another single, and "Who Says You Can't Go Home." Now, there are 2 versions of "Who Says You Can't Go Home" available, which is the original version, which is this one, and also the country version with Jennifer Nettles, which was also released on the US version of this, and subsequently the 2010 special edition version, which came out, and also the US version is also available on Apple Music and Spotify. So if you want to get that track, because I've got the UK edition here with the Dirty Little Secret and Unbreakable, which I know Dirty Little Secret is also available on the Japanese and the Mexican version, I think. And also Eric's House, which is a YouTuber I follow, he did a review of this, and he said that it was one of his personal favourites, and he gave it almost a 9 out of 10, I think. And I think this is one of Bon Jovi's best albums. This is one of the albums I love every song of, and the more times I've listened to it, the album has really grown on me a lot. I mean, it started with, obviously, Have a Nice Day was one of the songs that really introduced me to the music, and Welcome to Wherever You Are was another one. Who Says You Can't Go Home was one of those songs I heard later. And out of all the tracks, at the time, obviously I've only heard the odd track here and there, but the more times I listened to the album, these tracks really started to become one of the albums that really got me into Bon Jovi as a whole, as I keep saying. And obviously, as I said, it came out in 2005, so it's one of those albums that really showed me in such a way. I'm going to go through the tracks quite quickly now. Have a Nice Day is one of the best songs on the album, and one of the best songs on one of the best Bon Jovi title tracks ever at this point. This is the well, many of Bon Jovi's albums do have title tracks, but the first one was the first one to have a title track was Keep the Faith, and then it was These Days. Well, Blaze of Glory was the first one, actually. Then it was Keep the Faith, then it was These Days, then it was Destination Anywhere, then it was Bounce, then it was this, and then Lost Highway came after that. So it was the 6th time that Bon Jovi used a title track for their albums, and Have a Nice Day is a brilliant title track. I Want to Be Loved is another one of my favourites too. It took a bit of time for the album to grow, for that song to grow on me, but the more times I listen to it, it's one of the best songs on the album. Welcome to Wherever You Are was an instant favourite as soon as I've heard it. Who Says You Can't Go Home is another one of my favourites. I love both versions of the song, as I said, but the main band version is the best of them, in my opinion. Last Man Standing is another one of my favourites. Another song that took time to grow on me, but I think it's one of the best songs on the album. Bells of Freedom, another one of my personal favourites. It's the longest song on the album, actually. It clocks in at nearly 5 minutes, but it's still a really good song there. And then Wildflower, one of the songs that, well, to be honest, I do love the song, but I think it's the weakest on the album at the same time. It's not one of the best, in my opinion. But it's still a good song, though. I still enjoy it. Last Cigarette, I Am, and Complicated. They are the best 3 songs back to back here. Last Cigarette has a bit of a hard rocking sort of pop punk sort of style to it to start in the chorus, and then it picks up nicely near the end. Even though I'm not too keen on the echo part towards the end of the song, but it's still really good. And I Am is brilliant. One of the best guitar solos on this album. And Bon Jovi do a good job with that song. Complicated, again, another song that took time to grow on me the more I listened to it, but I really do enjoy it. One of the best songs on the album, and one of the best songs that could have been. That was great. And then Novocaine comes next, which, to Eric's House, he really thinks that that song is the low point of the album. But to me, I actually really quite enjoy it. It's one of my personal favourite Bon Jovi songs. In fact, probably one of the best Bon Jovi deep cuts of all the Bon Jovi albums, in my opinion. And then Story of My Life, the actual closing track, it's still really good. It's not the best Bon Jovi closing track of them all, but it's still a really good one here. And then the two bonus tracks I've got on here, we got Dirty Little Secret and Unbreakable. Those songs are hard to come by now, depending which version of the album you've got. But I'm lucky I've got these because these are the UK only bonus tracks on here. And it also, Dirty Little Secret and Unbreakable are actually the best songs on the best bonus tracks on any Bon Jovi album so far. That I've got already of the 16 studio albums. This is the fifth time that it's happened on a Bon Jovi. No, sixth time that's happened on a Bon Jovi album, because you've got the bonus tracks. You got Keep the Faith, who has a couple of has a bonus track. These Days has a couple of bonus tracks. Destination Anywhere has a bonus track. Crush has a couple of bonus tracks, but they're mostly remixes, so I don't really count them as bonus tracks so much. Then it was this that had bonus tracks. This I Feels Right also has bonus tracks, but it's more of a live compilation, so I don't really class them. Lost Highway has a bonus track, and also if you got the deluxe versions of What About Now and This House Is Not For Sale, and also the final edition of 2020, there's some bonus tracks on them as well. But these two, oh sugar, these two, not just a sec, but these two here are the best bonus tracks on any Bon Jovi album. I'm sorry about the phone dropping there. And I must say, as a Bon Jovi album, it's one of my favourite Bon Jovi albums. And I must say, it's one of the best Bon Jovi albums I've heard as a fan. And to be honest, if I wasn't into Bon Jovi before, this is the album I definitely recommend. I mean, I know some people say start with the classic albums first, but to me, this was the first Bon Jovi album that really got me into the bands. So I do recommend this one. You don't have to, because obviously most Bon Jovi fans who love Living on a Prayer and stuff like that, don't be surprised if you don't like this album, because there's a lot of people who think this album is more in the middle. And to be honest, I do enjoy this album quite a lot actually, but I think this is probably, because I have a lot of nostalgia for this album, and it's definitely one of my personal favourites for a Bon Jovi one. So I do recommend this one, and I personally think this is one of Bon Jovi's best albums. Even if to some extent, if you've heard not Lost Highway, Slippery When Wet, and the other albums before this one, you'll know exactly the progression from that album to this one. And this came out almost 19 years after that. So basically they've really pushed themselves up to this one. So, and it's one of my favourite Bon Jovi albums, and I definitely would recommend it. I mean, it's very hard to get the CD in this form, but now, unless you can buy it second-handed or Vinted or something. But it's still a really good album, and I've had this when I was I've had my copy of this album when I was about 16 years old in 2010, I think. So basically, this is my first time I actually got a copy of this album, and I know it's duplicated with my parents' copy, but I'm just happy I've got this. So anyway, I'll see you again next time for another Bon Jovi review sometime. Goodbye for now.